Hello, YouTube. So I'm currently in the middle of a series of mezcal reviews, and I have one all prepped and for uploading and stuff. But I just checked the calendar and realized that on the 31st, which is in 2 days, we'll be having Black Top Day, which is the commemoration of the last issuing of rum rations to Navy sailors in the British fleet. And so I wanted to do something, not so much to mark that occasion, but to almost to complain about it a little bit. More on that later, because I think in a lot of ways we're celebrating the wrong holiday. So what I've done is I've got 3 bottles to compare, stating that they are at Navy Strength. They're not actually. So these are at 57 proof, or 57% alcohol. Now, in the British proofing system, that is full proof. That is 100 proof. The Navy did not issue rum rations at 100 proof. They actually issued it slightly weaker. They actually issued it 54.5% alcohol, if I remember correctly. This is just one of the many myths about Navy rum, which has sort of perpetuated itself. And a lot of the digging around on this has been done by Cocktail Wonk, who's I'm going to link below. Anyway, so I grabbed the daddy of the group. I think this really started the trend of putting Navy Strength at the bottom of your bottle. This is Smith & Cross, which is Jamaican, very popular Jamaican blend of pot still rums. But I've also got Hamilton, Ed Hamilton's 114 Navy Strength here, which is a blend of Worthy Park in Jamaica with his sort of 151 Demerara. I'll give you more information on these as they come. And I also have an interloper from America. This is Journeyman Distillery Rhodes End Navy Strength from Michigan, actually. So this is the daddy. So we're going to end with this. The challengers go first. We'll start with this guy from Michigan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, pour them and try them neat. Add a little water. Let them settle. Give them another go. Give them a score, and maybe give you some kind of takeaway on these rums and on the sort of upcoming commemoration thing that's going on. Okay. First off, Journeyman Rhodes End. So there's some nonsense on the back about, reflection or something. I don't really know. But the thing caught my eye was on the website. They described this as inspired by Jamaican pot distilled rums, which I like very much. So who are these guys? So this is Journeyman is kind of an offshoot of the Koval Distillery in Chicago, which I like very much. They distilled their first batches there and then moved over to Michigan. They mostly make whiskeys, so bourbon, rye, a bunch of other stuff. They've also got a putting green, a restaurant. They're a wedding venue. It's maybe a little bit bougie. It's like your mom calls you and she's like she knows you like bourbon, so she's like, I saw this place in the paper. They make bourbon. I know you like bourbon. I think you should do your wedding there. It looks nice. It's up in Michigan. And you're like, shut up, Mom. I can't talk. I'm in line for like a limited release, and it doesn't have an age statement, anyways. I'm kind of glad I got out of bourbon when I did. Anyhow, so nevertheless, let us consider their rum. So this is a batch 12, maybe probably around 2019, something like that. 57% alcohol, and here we go. Does this smell like Jamaica? No, it smells absolutely nothing like Jamaica. We're getting bread pudding, actually, is the leading note. It's sort of like bread pudding, like someone made took some old challah and just made Southern style bread pudding out of it, but also just tons of wildflower honey black pepper, orange blossom, like just a kind of a floral note. Hints of like grass, like dried grass, really. The bread pudding really just dominates this. Um, some like nutshells, like toasted nutshells, and a little bit of sort of virgin coconut oil. Also, there's a thing which my mother-in-law introduced me to, which is cacao husks. These are the things that uh, cocoa come in. There, and you can use them to make tea and stuff. It's sort of nutshelly, but chocolatey at the same time. It's fun. It's a distinctive note. You can use them in your tasting. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's give this a shot. It's like pear cobbler, maybe something pastry like. Um, Mixed berries. It's nice. It's very fruity and honeyed and light. Um, oh, medium bodied. Um, Honey, orange peel, um, sort of that floral note again. Like, well, different kinds of honey first of all, so that's part of it, but also like just dried flowers, macadamia nuts, uh, oolong tea. Um, Not so much the actual tea, just like you grab a bunch of the leaves and just throw them in your mouth. Um, Vanilla, like vanilla bean, and that black pepper note. This is um, kind of nicely damp. So they don't tell you how old this is, but I imagine it's not that much older than 2 years. It doesn't come across as very old. At the end, the finish is a little bit clipped. All the oak and all the flavor is really on the front end, and it kind of falls off pretty quick. Um, uh, yeah, black pepper. It's really sort of this sort of very nice, soft, floral, aromatic distillate fighting back against a big dose of American oak. Um, Not too much. This is not, a sort of dill and coconut bomb. Um, Now, and what you're thinking right now is that these old men are going to smash down this sort of American upstart, and we're all going to get a good laugh at it. Don't speak too soon. Yeah, arrives sweet, and that honey note turns dry. Actually, very nice. I'm going to squirt a little bit of water into this. Uh, let's give it 4 squirts. See how that goes. I'll add more if I need it. Have to squirt more. Oh, thank you for bearing with me. All right, let's move on. So this Hamilton Navy Strength. So this is I had thought this was something called like a New York blend or something. I guess that's something else. Um, Now what this is basically Ed Hamilton taking his famous 151 Demerara, which is much beloved, and basically just blending it with his Jamaica stocks, which is Worthy Park, um, and that's kind of all this is. So it's a blend of very heavily wooded, smoked toffee, Demerara stuff with a sort of mildly funky Jamaican white rum, and that's kind of what we got here. Um, Bottled at 57%. This is bottle number, what is this? S41917. Um, Here we go. Okay. Fudge, like not chocolate fudge. This is more like confectioner's fudge, so it's just the vanilla and the sugar. Um, Rose water. Yeah, like very kind of rosy, vanilla, kind of cream soda, rust. Actually, I get that a lot in sort of blends of very wooded rums with sort of more funky rums. Good dose of funk. It's sort of a fruity funk. It's not too much. This is like early Sly Stone as opposed to sort of the later stuff they made in '70 and onwards. Gunpowder, actually. There's lots of now they nailed down. Lots of gunpowder. White pepper. Like unripe banana peels, if that makes sense. If you just sort of peeled a yellow banana. Stewed. What is that? It's like if you sort of took some tangerines and maybe threw some oranges in there and like stewed them up. I don't know if anyone actually does that, but that's kind of what I'm getting. A little bit of ginger, like ginger powder more so than actual sort of fresh ginger. And throw like a twist of lime in there. This is a very distinctive kind of just classic rummy nose. On the palate, okay, so we got the finish on it just shut me up. Toffee, kind of a Turkish delight kind of thing. That's the rosewater again. Marmalade, orange marmalade, black pepper, but all sort of like washed down with cafe latte. Kind of a little. Heavy on the marmalade, actually. A little old rubber. Kind of a orange zest essence thing too, maybe going on. Different kinds of smoke, like burning tires mixed with like wood smoke. Ginger snaps. And that gunpowder thing again, like if you mix gunpowder with brown sugar or something like that. Yummy. This is more serious than the 151 Demerara as a sip option. I don't think it's lost the complexity that I get in Worthy Park, the rum bar, but it's sort of a happy midpoint. I actually did blend something like this when I did the Hamilton 151 video, except I also threw some Barbados in there. Okay. But now we go to the big one. 2. Let's see if it's good enough. One more. Okay. And okay. Moving on. This is the daddy. Smith and Cross, blended in the UK by Smith and Cross. So a couple things to note with this. So this is pure all pot still distillate. No column stuff coming into this. It's a mix of Plummer and Wedderburn, which are sort of the two. It's not the minimum funkiness of Jamaican rum. It's sort of the next 2 levels up from that. So we're talking like, medium low levels of funk. One thing, there's no, they don't tell you exactly what's in this, where they're sourcing it from. Word on the internet is it's from Hamden. I may have some words to say about that. They do say that it's unchill filtered, which is great. You will notice they do not say this is a natural color. And when I get to the tasting, I do not think this is very old at all. The color, certainly I wouldn't put it over 1 year. Could still be this color if they were doing the Guyana thing of sort of decharring and recharring the casks. But in Jamaica, they tend not to do that, right? They tend to just, keep it sort of unrecharred, so far as I know. So I do not believe this is the natural color of this rum. But moving on, nose. So the first thing I would say is not Hamden. Could be some Hamden in this, but I would put my reputation as YouTuber on the line and say that Hamden is not even sort of the leading member of this blend. Like if you Foursquare make a white rum called Probitas, where they include it's a mix of their own stuff and the lightest Hamden that Hamden actually produces, and that sort of cherry cola signature still just shoots right through. It just dominates the entire blend. I'll review that at some point. But it's not really here. What you're getting is more like cola cubes and like artisanal cola soda. This the stuff you buy at Trader Joe's for like $8. But it's kind of flat. It's sort of been sitting out for all day, and it's lost all its fizz. Like if you took like burned vanilla beans, maybe. You can tell it's pot distillate. It has an oomph to it. It has a weight, but it's not actually showing off that much character. It's not even actually that funky. This is kind of it's not that funky. I'm trying to think of a musical analogy, and it's not coming. There's some tobacco in this, maybe some like stoved red tobacco, like if you're a pipe guy. But then there's this what's starting to bug me. There's a kind of perfumey, floral, almost soapy note. It reminds me of laundry, actually. It reminds me of like a dryer sheet. If you sort of accidentally threw a bunch of dryer sheets into your rum, that's kind of what I'm getting on the nose. On the palate, black licorice, very anise dominated. Sort of blackstrap molasses, but without the sugar. This is very dry, very, very dry. Kind of topsoil if it was all like burned and messed up. Coffee grinds, like French roast coffee grinds that you sort of started chewing on. Cola cubes, again. But then there's sort of that dryer sheet thing. I can't get away from that. It's there on the palate too. It's kind of getting in my way. A little hint of like olive juice, which I'm enjoying, and then like hang on. Yeah, do you know Caro, the corn syrup? So there's a light one which is great, and then like the dark one, which is kind of disgusting. The dark one is here on the palate, with this rum. Yeah, so a little difficult. So this has been on the market the longest of any of these. It's the one to beat, and I don't know if it's winning me over so far. Let's add some water and go back to it. 2, 3, 4. Cool. One more. Whew. It's going to be a long afternoon. All right, let's go back to the Journeyman. Now that it's had a chance to sort of get some breathing in. Oh, it actually quiets down a little bit from where it was before. It was sort of exploding in my face with um, the honey and pepper thing. And that sort of pulled back a bit. It's sort of a just flowers and blossoms and kind of a muesli thing, like grains and mixed berries and nuts. I mean, it's really sort of like pastry shop, like fruit pastries everywhere, and you sort of dribbled honey and pepper all over them. Um, this is kind of just a very pretty nose on the palate. Ooh, yeah, hasn't changed that much. Delicate, nicely balanced. Kind of finding a middle ground between that sort of nice honey fruit pastry thing um, and sort of aggression of American oak, which is kind of closing in on it. Um, it's a little bit sweeter than I tried it before, but um, so one thing I would say about this is if you come to this expecting, as they say, Jamaican rum, you will be vastly disappointed, and I think they should probably consider getting another marketing approach for this. On the other hand, this is one of the best sort of Central American style rums I think I've ever had. This actually reminds me a lot of like Guatemala or even like Nicaragua, something like that, or Venezuela, maybe a little bit, but not the really heavy ones. But I'm really thinking Guatemala. Um, if there's someone out there watching this who's always been going like, geez, I really like the Ron Botrons, not so much the Zacapas, because I like keeping my teeth. Um, the Botrons and the Floricanas and what is that? The lighter Diplomatico, the Montuano, is that right? I really like those, but I wish they were, just a hair bit less oaky, less sweet, a little more distillate driven, bottled at higher strength. This is your rum. This is your rum. There's lots of promise here, actually. It's never going to be, big ester bomb or anything like that. It's just a very nice, honey style, Central American style rum. Yeah, I'm going to give this. It's not complicated yet, but there's promise. I'm going to give this like 83 plus. Let's say that. Um, I'd love to see if they, rather than using wood fresh out of away from a bourbon. I love it if they have some dead cask they can just kind of dechar and rechar like they do down there, and just throw it in there and get some of those sort of Starbucksy notes. I think that would really suit this quite well. Anyways, yeah, this is someone out there. This is the rum they've been looking for. Put it that way. Um, 83 plus. Let's move on. All right, Hamilton. Also doesn't change all that and develop all that much. It gets a little more citric, a little more orange lime, um, and the funk starts to come out a little bit more. So we're starting to move towards 1970 Sly Stone as opposed to sort of the 60s stuff. On the palate, what should I say? Ooh, yeah, marmalade and black pepper um, just dominate. There's also like one or two olives in there, which is nice. Um, some even a little bit of maybe the journeyman's sort of started to mess with my palate, but even a little bit of like if you toasted a brioche and put some honey on it, there's a little bit of that in there. It gets a little more honeyed. Um, Less funk on the palate than there is on the nose, actually, but very good. This is I do love the idea of just let's just pour our Jamaican stock in with our Demerara stock, and that's our Navy Strength blend. I love the not exactly laziness of that, but the sort of lack of you know complication. I think this is very well balanced. It's still not that complex. Um, I give the Worthy Park Run Bar like an 87, and I think I gave the Hamilton 151 like an 82, something like that. So no surprise, I'm going to land in the middle. I'm going to give this 84 plus out of 100. Yeah, just a terrific rum that hits a lot of points. I mean, sort of dark oaky rum fans are going to be happy, but there's sort of shaking hands with the maniacs who want white Jamaican uh, monsters all the time. Um, it's a good blend. It's a good blend. Let's put it that way. Uh, and we are moving back to the Smith and Cross. Yeah. Okay. Much the same kind of drier lint, flat cola thing. Um, Maybe a little bit more brown sugar coming out now. Maybe some anise. There was that on the palate already. Um, yeah, but the drier sheet laundry note in this is kind of getting in the way for me. On the palate, mm, okay, the olives start to come out to play. That's nice. Ooh, but the drier the laundry thing is still actually comes out even more, and um, that's not that delicious. There's a little bit of a an off note, kind of a bitter note in the back, like a gym sock, dirty gym sock thing on the finish too. Um, Give this one more try. And it's all Jamaica now, so I was rooting for it too. Yeah, it has character. It has heft. It has probably more weight than anything else on this table. But the off notes are just kind of getting in the way. I think maybe it's something in the fermentation. I don't know where they're getting the rest of their stock, but I can't give it a huge grade for that. I'm going to give this an 82 out of 100. So I can't really call it good, but it's kind of sucks leaning upwards, if I can put it that way. All right, so final rate ranking. How does this right? Okay. So, to my surprise, Jamaica, the Jamaican Puritan, actually comes in last. When this came out like 6, 8 years ago in the U.S., I don't remember exactly. Like, I think we were all wowed by it, and I don't think the blend has changed. I think it's pretty much the same. I think I've moved on, and the situation has moved on. Like when this was alone on the shelf, it was the only, you know, Jamaican pot still thing you could get. I mean, it would floor you, right? I mean, now it's sitting down the shelf from like 4 or 5 different variations of Worthy Park, and the stolen overproof that's 6-year-old Hamden. Um, Times have changed. I mean, and this has kind of been this hasn't, and so it kind of loses this comparo a little bit. 82, still with buying. I just wouldn't. I just don't want to drink it, if I can put it that way. Journeyman, not at all a Jamaican rum, not at all. But um, the best Central American rum I've tried in a long time. So let's leave it at that. I'm going to be watching this one. If they start, this is reasonably priced. It's $40. The others are 30. So it's a craft American product. So it gets that the price bump, but it's still, compared to the world of bourbon, this is still reasonably priced. Yeah, I'm going to be watching for older versions of this one, particularly if they start playing around with the oak a little bit. But for the moment, 83 plus. I like it. It's good. And the winner is the Hamilton, so-called Navy Strength. It just kind of puts things together in a very pleasant way. It's not spectacular, but for $30 for a rum of this strength, I think it will scratch that itch. All right, so we are finished with our comparison. What do I have to say about Black Tot Day, right? Let me get some water. So, July 31st, 1970, the British sailors get their last daily rum ration. And, so what are we celebrating when we celebrate this fact and, try to find replicas of, that style of rum, even though they don't exist? What are we celebrating exactly? I would argue in some ways we're celebrating something that kind of doesn't exist anymore and probably really never existed. It has a lot in common with a lot of stuff that is attached to rum these days, like the pirate thing, the native girls with like coconut bikinis thing, these sort of ridiculous images. They're all sort of in their own way related back to colonialism, right? To the extent that Black Tot Day is about celebrating the sort of the end of the classic British Navy and sort of what was and the sort of greatness that was. The greatness of the Royal British Navy was it was an enforcer for the empire that sort of conquered half the world, and I would argue that it's probably better for the world that the British Navy is no longer what it was. It probably stayed around too long, if anything. I think one thing we forget in with something like Black Tot Day is that within that same period is a lot of these colonies were becoming independent, right? It was not just the end of the empire; it was the beginning of the independence for Guyana and for Jamaica, right? We had ours, way back in the day, but that's where we got our start. I don't think we've really sort of reckoned as a species with the fact that from the end of the war up to Black Tot Day, right? In those 25 years, millions of people who are still alive, who were born as colonial subjects, gained their freedom. Just try thinking about that for a little bit. So here's the thought: rather than looking back on the end of something that probably should have ended, maybe we can instead celebrate the beginning of things, the independence of these countries that make these products that we love so much. Guyanese Independence Day, you already missed. That was May 26th. But Jamaica is still coming up. It's August 6th. So in next Friday, if you want a good excuse to enjoy some fantastic Jamaican rum, do that. I think it's better to celebrate. It's not like the years since independence for a lot of the old colonial countries have been terrific, but they're making their own decisions now. They're sort of deciding their own directions and stuff. And so, rather than trying to duplicate something which was never a sort of fixed entity to begin with, go out and celebrate Jamaica. Go out and celebrate Guyana and Barbados and Trinidad to the extent that you can get good Trinidadian rum still. And Fiji and all these former India. My God, they make pretty good rum too. Go buy some Indian rum and enjoy it. So that would be my thought. Rather than celebrate Black Tot Day, let's celebrate the independence of the colonies that actually made this stuff, right? That's kind of all I got. So this wins. This is a kind of interesting wild card, and I think times have passed this guy by a little bit. Although it's still, probably going to do excellent service in your tiki drinks. That's kind of all I got. Thanks for watching, and cheers.